Hello, everyone. Broadcasting live from my house. My good friend Ali is actually going to hop on in a few minutes. He's running a little behind, but I wanted to go ahead and just start sharing a little bit about city clips before we start diving into some questions related to our latest experience. And also I wanted to continue with the best subject lines. I know it was a part one last week, and then this session today is going to be a part two. And so let me go ahead and just talk a little bit about all that's going on. I've been having a lot of fun with the just putting together the email newsletter for City Clips and researching all the latest and greatest that's happening locally, regionally, nationally. And so just learning so much that even I wonder if it's even possible, but I don't want to get to the to the dailies, to the side of like actually posting daily yet because I don't have that bandwidth, but I'm still hitting my goal of email newsletters a week, and the whole experience is definitely a learning experience, and I'm just trying to, force myself to get through it because it is definitely an exercise, and then sooner or later, it's just going to be a habit, and I would imagine that I'll just get a little faster and faster. And I am keeping track of my time just so I'm aware of like how long I take because you could really get lost in the rabbit hole that is the internet and just start clicking on endless links and start reading and start investigating, especially my curious side and constant desire to dig and dig and dig deeper into a topic. But I'm also at the same time a pretty quick curator. So I think that's a great strength. It's just, the weakness is that I tend to like dive too deep sometimes. So um, that's why it's good that I'm limited in time. And speaking of time, that's one of the reasons why we pushed it back today because today was orientation day for first week of school. And so he and I were pretty slammed, especially with me having to go to three different locations throughout the day of Leon County Schools. And you might hear some kids in the background, so hopefully you don't mind. And I have great headphones that kind of muddle the noise. But as far as oh yeah. Okay, so this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to just go ahead and share the newsletter of today. And I published it closer to the evening to kind of get an idea of, different activities, user behavior, and then just see how people will respond. I could see that some might open it in the mornings, but like a lot of our content isn't like something that needs to be shared the morning of, but um, but yeah, I mean, those are one of the questions that I had for Ollie too. Is like as you get into the mode of routine of researching content, and then you start finding more and more resources, and you realize like, oh wow, I want to share this, I want to share that. So like how he managed to maintain it on a daily basis, and then also how how do you know what not to share? I already know like more than half the content that we are curating, primarily for the newsletter. The part that's really tempting is like how to not share it all and try to be another, media company that's already doing it. And so, with our own personal voice and our own style, like I feel like that's coming across. The whole goal is to be a resource that people can go to and um, find unique things that nobody else is sharing in a concise way. And then also find really cool things that are happening around the corner in the near future related to events, related to socials and business events, those kinds of things. So I'll go ahead and share my screen so that you can see what I'm seeing, and then we can talk a little bit about what's all that's going on. So let's share this window right here. Yeah, I can even minimize views and hopefully you can see it better. Cool. I love this thing about StreamYard so that it makes it a little bigger. Okay. So yeah, you can see it's all about what's happening in the city. And what's big right now in August is that everyone's getting in gear for back to school. The universities are kicking in, and Leon County Schools, like I mentioned, is first week of school. And I'll obviously giving a shout out again to Launch Tally. And the whole idea is for us to be in partnership with a local influencer brand company um, or organization and highlight them for the month. And so Launch Tally is our partner for the month. And Eddie, if you don't follow Eddie, the CEO of Rivos, he's another awesome person to get to know and who's very he's really just an active member in the community and he knows everything that's going on about tech and really just a great ambassador for the Tallahassee community. So recently they announced that they have finished the Amazon Web Services Public Sector Accelerated Partner Development Program. That's a mouthful, I know. But congratulations, Eddie and Team Rivos, for making that happen. And I wish you more success in the long term. So as far as the quick summary goes, there's a lot going on with local youth sports and college sports. And so there's a quick recap of that down there as you know, skip through. That's the whole format. It's just a quick report. Excuse me. And then 2023 is slated to be a record year for heat. Scientists are already confirming that the month of July is going to be like probably the hottest on record. So yeah, hopefully temps will start cooling down for us, especially here in North Florida. And another interesting fact I found is that manatees mate around the season and they like to mate in groups. I know, awkward, I know. I have a GIF right there of manatees. There you go. So if there's a picture in the article that I shared in there, like they see like manatees kind of getting close to shore and they're not like they look distressed, but apparently that's a thing. And you know, don't try to save them, don't try to touch them. Florida Fish and Wildlife are fully aware, and Pinellas County Sheriff's Office released a statement, don't touch them. It's illegal to touch them. So yeah, steer clear, everyone. Another interesting thing that's kind of brewing right now is there's a slap fest between Mr. Beast and Virtual Dining Concepts. They had partnered to help promote his new burger, Mr. Beast Burger. And so he went on, I believe, one of his social platforms and he complained. And so he's pretty much threatened to sue. And I think he did make an attempt to sue initially for making, quote, disgusting burgers and, you know, tarnished his brand. So they retaliated and now they're suing him for over $100 million. And so we'll see how that develops. Looks like somebody's watching there. I see you, but I don't see you. I don't know who you are. I see that somebody's watching. Thanks for joining. And so the other thing, I mean, I have links to all these little tidbits here. Some really cool things about local events. That's one thing that we can mention because I'm not going to go through all of this. Otherwise, you need to subscribe so you can access to all this really coolness, big coolness here. Okay, so TLH Beer Fest, save the date, August 26th, 2 to 6 p.m. I'll be sure to share this on Thursday. I had it in my Google Doc. Little did I know that I missed that transfer, but it's okay. That's what I love about being able to share this on the second edition for the week, but which will be issue number 7, which is awesome. Okay, so but yeah, this weekend, if you're into Hispanic entertainment, Tallahassee Hispanic Theater is going to host their sixth annual Micro Theater Festival at Goodwood Museum and Gardens. And then Dink and Dine. Yes, I thought it was a typo at first, but Tallahassee Downtown is hosting a Dink and Dine event on Fridays for this whole month. And there's a link in there. And Tallahassee Foods was great to share this event as well. And so if you're into pickleball, go check it out at downtown area and you can claim your pickle passport here. There's a link and so that you can register and then keep track of all the different places that you visit around downtown if you go there every week on a Friday. And the other neat, cool thing, if you're not aware, the Tallahassee Film Society is hosting multiple events, including screenings of independent films and documentaries related to the Beatles. So if you're into that, they are getting RSVP or getting ticket registrations shared via City Clips email newsletter. So yeah, I mean, if you were to take the extra time that I did to research all of this, and there's a lot more, and I found a lot more, and I saved them in another document for to share for next time because those aren't super time sensitive. That just takes up so much extra time to be aware of what's going on in town, and so I really think that City Clips will serve the community as a great resource to be able to plan for these things ahead of time, to learn about them ahead of time before it actually happens. And I know that's kind of redundant, but anyways, there's this joke that we just hear about things after the fact and it's too late, and you wish that you knew about it ahead of time so you could have actually gone. So yeah, that's the thing that keeps happening to new people in town who don't happen to know. And of course, there's my daughter. um, so yeah, and so yeah, I'm really excited that we're still going through this and I'm learning so much. So one of the main things that I also wanted to ask Ali, here's a plan we also kind of got to chat briefly, is that besides email subject lines and his take on it and his feedback and experience, we're going to talk about like what's his plan for growth hacking the newsletter so that we can actually start getting more subscribers. Our goal is to hit 1,000 this fall, and he believes we can do it. So I'd like to see and hold him, accountable and see like how, what's the plan in getting that done, and then how can we accomplish that and make sure that we actually get it done, and we'll go from there. So he did say he'll be here soon. He's on the road, and I am. Let me go ahead and share also. Because if you guys are interested in this, I would love to get your feedback because I also have some other ideas in mind because there's so many directories out there and they all look the same. Well, they don't look the same. It's just like a lot of information and it's so much to have to go through all that. So that's one of the things that he also mentioned to me is that he wanted a resource in a place where it's just like short and sweet, to the point, most important things, most interesting things. And so, like, as I'm going through all this research, I'm saving the dates for a lot of these things. Like, I know I mentioned College of Music, they announced their concert schedule. Opening Nights has their series. So I'll try to highlight some interesting guests for those different things throughout the year. But I might have a singular document, for anyone who would like. And so I have these things saved, soccer schedule. I already shared the football schedule. And then Thomasville Arts in November, which I could even just move this down, but they actually have a wildlife arts festival in November, and that their newsletter is really, really well put together, and they have some really neat events timed around the same time, mid-November. before you hit your crazy Thanksgiving holiday weekends. So, and then the other, yeah. So by month, like as I run into things that isn't super urgent that I know that I can share for, in the near future, I'm saving that in a doc. And then um, I have some processes in place on what my team can do to help me document some of these links too, because man, it is not easy to curate content and make it sound interesting. And now I understand why the founders of The Hustle and the Milk Road, like Sam Parr and Sean Puri, was saying it's not for the faint of heart. It's not the easiest. Like it's easy to get started, but like to be able to, withstand it long term and just maintain it, it's not the easiest thing. So I hope that we can keep it going. I mean, I'm having a great time doing this. So, and then, as you can see, like I'm finding all these articles and so many different interesting articles that I can be sharing, but it's just like, how do I maintain it? Like I highlighted about this 8-year-old Thomas Phil star athlete who was getting ready to go to Junior Olympics. And then of course I have my little in a reader that I've been sharing. I have to peer through like hundreds of articles and headlines and make sure that it's all relevant. And one key thing for us that we know for sure is like, okay, we're not trying to be political. We're not trying to cover any controversial topics. We don't want to do that. So what we want to do is highlight all the positive things that are going on in town. And there's plenty of all that other stuff like everywhere else on social media, on news, that's getting pushed to everybody. So what we want to do is highlight what's the positive, what's the fun, and what's the creative things that are happening in town. And there you go, Ollie finally joined. I killed enough time. I see you. There you go.
Oh,
Hello,
sorry for
friend.
the. Okay, cool. But I see that. Okay, just keep going. That was
Yeah.
nice.
No, I highlighted the stuff from today's newsletter, and then yeah, that's it. And I
But
already
let's
talked
open it
about
up because even the stuff that we wanted to talk about, like we plan to talk about, I promise we
right.
won't take time. We can do this in 5 minutes.
Okay.
First of all, I like the title today. It was nice, and using the football, I think it's nice.
Thanks.
I like the whole issue. A couple of points. So I mentioned to you, like I met a couple of people, and they told me that they saw the lives, and but when it came to city clips, like newsletter word was a bit probably confusing for some. It wasn't very clear for everyone that it was an email newsletter. So maybe
Okay.
we should add that everywhere, like
Yeah.
wherever we want to go. Okay. So including on the website. So.
Yeah,
Um,
good suggestions.
yeah, just making sure because I don't know if some assumed that it was going to be actually in the mail. Uh, anyway, so that's good to know. Okay, I think I had a point. Like I wanted to talk to you about how to read the email, the readability of email, and how it's written, the writing style.
Right.
First of all,
Yeah.
I love the writing style that is happening so far, but um, we have to consider that people will read the email in different modes. One mode will be where actually people will be able to read for the 5 minutes, and the other mode is skim mode, where actually people will only spend like 30 seconds on the email. And for that 30-second email, it might be a good idea to have a way to read it with by reading the titles alone and not necessarily reading anything in the small case. So let's look at the titles over here. In sports, that's one title. FSU Seminoles, that's another title. These titles do not give you a hint about what the news is about. However, if we write different titles, like for example, I don't know, what are the two keywords that you would summarize each paragraph with? Probably these would be the titles. Like imagine
Okay.
if we're saying, for example, Seminoles start in 15th of August. I don't know. That's I'm just throwing something over there. Women's soccer is starting next week, for example. That way the title actually people will not even, if someone is skimming through, like there's a different style. We offered two products basically, one is skimmable and one is not. For now the newsletter can be only read through one way, which is basically reading the whole thing. There is no other way. I learned this, by the way, from consulting, because in consulting we would make these 100 slide pitches, and actually it was actually designed in a way where actually you can go through the whole story by just reading the titles of each slide without looking at whatever is the content of that slide. If you actually do that for any consulting slide, most probably you will get the whole story. It's a secret that a lot of people don't know, but in consulting, whenever you see something, a slide deck by McKinsey, BCG, whatever, 100 pages, don't get freaked out. Do not be scared. Just read the title and go through. Do not get into looking at any of the graphs or trying to look at anything complicated. Just read the lines. Just read the headers, what they call, and actually you will find it. You will find the whole story. And actually, it's never written in a title that is like 2 words or 3 words. Their titles of the slides are very weird. They're like 2 lines usually. And it's mainly for that purpose, because the titles are the storyboard. That's how you go through the story. Anyway, so there is a way of implementing this in our email newsletter, which is by making the titles more like a summary of the news itself.
That's great. Yeah.
Other than that, honestly, I'm in love with everything, with the way it's written. I think it's short. I think it's sweet. I think it's straight to the point. I love that it talks about local stuff than regional stuff. I love the GIF of the manatee. Um, Regional, international. I honestly like it. I would like to listen to people's feedback more, for us to start to improve it. This is one, and
Yeah.
probably that was one thing about the style of writing, and maybe another point that we wanted to talk about was growth, right?
Right. Yeah. No, thank you. It means a lot. I'm glad you like it and you're entertained by it. And I'm glad you have the perspective of like not knowing a lot of these things too.
Yes,
So
yeah,
then so then it probably is amusing to you, like, oh, I didn't know that. So that means a lot. And I like the idea, and it is my favorite thing, formatting so that the title does capture the summary of the whole point, because I get impatient too. I actually just prefer to skim, but
hmm
then at the same time, I want to try to provide some kind of personal spin to it, and then that's where like but yeah, I mean, timing wise, it's not taking me as much time. I still think like I know I could be a little bit more fast and efficient a little bit with research, curating, and writing, but I'm having fun with it, so it's not like feeling like work.
exactly, 100%. I think that is the key thing about the newsletter. Like uh, you would not believe what is the retention rate. Like it's almost like 100% for everyone who started working with Jareed, and mainly it's because they love what we're doing. It's just the style of it. It has nothing to do with management or anything. It's just nice business. Like people love to research. People are inquisitive. They like to learn stuff, and it's just a job that is keeping you up to date. So keeping you interesting, up to date when it comes to events, information, new, interesting news, etc. And at the same time, it's the job and just writing. I don't know. There is a positive element about writing. Once you write, I don't know, it de-stresses a person. So everything about it is positive. Like everyone, the way they explain it is that Jareed is a bright spot. Working in Jareed is actually a bright spot. And take into account they're not highly paid. This is just something about newsletters. I've never seen it anywhere else. Writing in general is something that people, I don't know, enjoy doing it for a living. So I don't know. That's just one more
Yeah,
reason for why to start your own newsletter in whatever field you are.
serious, yeah. And okay, so with growth hacking, I know you brought it up.
Growth hacking, yes, 4 minutes.
Okay,
Now,
so I know you mentioned billboard. Like, what makes you think you want to do a billboard? Because I do have contacts for billboard companies and everything, but it is on the pricier side. So two questions related to that. One, what do you recommend for somebody who can't afford one? A budget for that. But then two, like, why do you think it would work for us for City Clips?
okay, excellent. So City Clips, why would it work for us? Because we are going with the local methodology. That actually City Clips is about Tallahassee, it's about North Florida. So actually, this is our audience. So we get to do it while other people not necessarily they can do it. Like Morning Brew, it would not make sense for them to do billboards because they're targeting all of the US or even all over the world, anyone who's in English speaking. So billboards will not make sense. Like, but on the other hand, I don't know, Google ads would make sense, or Facebook ads, or Twitter ads, or whatever that is. So it has to do with our business model. The fact that we wanted to focus on geography, this opens up the access to other means of advertising. Now, when it comes to is it pricey or is it not, we will not actually know until we actually try it out and figure out how much conversions are we getting out of it, etc. So we will not really know. We know that the benchmark for the cost of acquisition is around $3 to $2 per subscriber. That is what we know from Gmail ads. That is what we know from competition. Morning Brew has talked about it. We have tried it in Jareed over the years, especially when you're talking about the segment of 25 to 45 business segment. It's usually on the pricier side. So it's $3. It will cost you for every subscriber around $3, no matter where you go. That's why you have to be creative, and I think billboards is going to be something very interesting to try out. So, if what are you thinking about the pricier side? How much is it per month?
I think it just depends. So I have to contact them, but I mean, it depends on the placement. But if we are smart, and for me, I'm thinking it would be really cool to get an actual ad placed in the airport.
Ooh,
Have you seen the digital ones? It's a nice one. It
yeah,
looks really good.
yeah,
And because someone's new in town, they're traveling, these are the people going in and out of town, and
yeah,
these are the business people traveling. So
yeah.
I think it would be nice to have one there. I have a contact there. I mean,
Well,
I'm guessing. Yeah, go ahead.
but in general, just like for example, if we're talking about the price, if we assume it's going to be $1,000 per month, for
Yeah,
example, $100
yeah.
per month,
I'm thinking in the ranges of that. Yeah.
between that. So it's simple. Like we have to just figure out if that $500, if it got us 100 subscribers, then we got a subscriber for every $5, which is not bad.
Okay.
Like compared to Google, it's very comparable to Google Ads.
That's true.
Don't forget that we also are going to get a lot of brand awareness.
Yes.
Billboards do they do impact. Like you see them when you're going to work every single day. Especially if you pick a good location.
Yeah.
So even if you've never dealt with any of the lawyers that are around town, probably you know the most famous ones right now just because of the billboard.
Yes, Jimmy's a good friend of mine.
Yeah,
Jimmy faced it.
but you see, like most of us probably never needed lawyers, but yet we know them. So actually, when it comes to brand awareness, it's going to be very, very useful. A lot of people will see City Clips and no City Clips, even if they don't subscribe, just after having the billboard. So
That's
with
true.
that in mind, like just because our audience is going to be in a specific geography, we have an opportunity to try out billboards. So let's try them out. That was my mindset. And in Tallahassee, they're relatively, I would think it's still less pricey than if we were somewhere else in Atlanta or something.
Yeah. No, it's true. You're right. So yeah, I'll make sure we can get quotes, so then that way we can decide, and then I can give you mock-ups. Those are my tasks in addition to the next newsletter. But then yeah, this is exciting. This is really exciting. This makes me
Yes, let's go to growth. Now I think we've completed the first phase, which is operations and launching it. Like actually this is the third phase. So the first phase was the setup, like the
okay.
logo, what is it about, what's the business model, etc.
Yeah.
Second step was actually launching it, which was like the perfectionist side will always be against launching it, but we launched it, right? And
Yeah.
now we get to the interesting part. It's almost set in motion. We know what we're sending. We know how frequently we're sending it, etc. And now let's grow it. And with growing it, we're gonna go back and improve the content and whatnot.
We're gonna grow it. Yes. Okay, awesome.
That's
That's
exciting.
exciting. That's your job. Your job is to grow it.
Yep, let's go. Let's go. I'm ready.
I can help with the organic side and just, spreading the word and just letting the community know and working with our outreach and our partners. And so, yeah.
Or really,
Eh,
these lives in LinkedIn, I hear a lot of people like I keep bumping into people in the gym, and they would say, "Oh, I saw you that day." And but this
It's
is
working.
where I think it's not clear. A lot of people, for them, it's not clear that it's an email newsletter and
Yeah,
that it's very easy to subscribe and that it's free. So
yeah,
probably it's just learnings that we have to keep incorporating.
yeah. We can update the descriptions on all our lives. And
Yep.
then, yeah, no, because LinkedIn, and I've heard from different friends saying they saw us on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, all three. They've
Mhm.
either gotten a push notification from all the different apps.
Mhm.
And then I've also had friends say, "Oh yeah, I want to sign up. That sounds really cool." Just so there's a lot of interest for it. And yeah, no, oh yeah, they've also said, like, of course, Dacia, she said, "Oh, I really love the stuff you're pushing out." So we're getting good feedback in positive ways, but we would love to get honest feedback too.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. So sorry for the delay, and I know we're over
I know
time.
it's fine. Everyone, you know, the recording saw me talk about the newsletter for today. So y'all need to sign up, subscribe,
Yep.
and you won't miss whatever we share for the next coming events because there's a lot of stuff going on with Tallahassee. Which reminds me, Ollie,
Yes.
that I brought it up earlier. I was thinking like, oh man, now I keep finding more stuff to talk about. It's like because it's just twice a week, I'm already feeling like, oh my gosh, it feels like it needs to be every day. But I'm not ready to do that yet.
Yeah. No, but that's good. That's good. This means that there is much more content to choose from, which improves the content that we have. That's good.
Yeah,
That means you're following the right sources.
I hope so.
Nice.
Well, thank you so much, Ellie. This was fun, and I'll catch you later. I'll see you on the other side, okay?
Yes. Okay. Good. Thank you, everyone.